My name is Leo Connors, and welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. Today, I got a very special guest. He does a lot of stage and TV producer, Christian Arnold.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, thank you, man. When Sonny told me, I'm like, yeah, I love getting people on the show that I don't know, too, because it makes it more interesting.
Definitely.
But let's get right into it. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Elliott, Maine,
wow.
right next to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, right on the seacoast area.
Yeah.
Spent all my life there, really.
Nice. All right. When did you first see pro wrestling? We just talked about this off air.
Yeah. I guess on TV, just kind of came upon it when I was younger. Definitely my earliest memories would be John Cena being the top guy. So
Yes.
That's kind of my era.
Excellent. Were your friends and family into it? Friends, family, anybody into it? No?
Not
Just
at all.
you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I was definitely a lonely wrestling fan.
Yeah, see, at my house, I was the only wrestling fan.
Yeah.
But like at school, lots of kids liked it back then.
My dad put up with it.
Did he?
He got excited with me.
No, that's
So,
cool.
Yeah.
You want to know something funny is my father told me when I was like 40 years old that his mother loved wrestling. And he waited till I was 40 to tell me, and I've been watching it since I was 7. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? But, all right, so do you remember the first show you ever went to?
I do.
All right.
Yeah, kind of pulling it out right as we speak. It was in Portland, I think at the Cross Insurance Arena. It was just a WWE house show. I saw Undertaker,
Nice.
saw Kane, saw Cena. Really good show, house show. Yeah.
Nice. What about indie shows?
So I never really attended any indie shows. It wasn't something I knew about.
Right.
I didn't think that this community existed around here. It was really just WWE or nothing.
Right.
And then I kind of lost interest in wrestling as I got into being like a teenager.
Yeah.
And that was probably the time where I would have, sought out those things on my own.
Right.
So I didn't really get exposed to indie wrestling around here until I got involved in it.
Right. And we're going to definitely get into that. So, all right. Now, I know you're a stage and TV producer. Now, do you act also?
Yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it. I've been acting since I was a little kid.
Okay.
Love being on stage when I can. I played the Beast in Beauty and the Beast.
Nice.
Performed for like hundreds of people at night for a whole summer.
That's pretty cool. How old were you when you did that?
It was pretty recently, like 3 years ago.
Nice.
I'm 26 now, so I would have been like 23.
That's awesome.
I got to play the Kevin Bacon role in Footloose.
Oh,
so
wow.
I got to dance a little bit.
Are you a good dancer?
Not really.
But you must have practiced.
I practiced. I did it. I made it. There's video. Yeah.
That's a good movie, too. I'm a huge Kevin Bacon fan. I don't know about you, but I love that guy.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what made you want to get into that type of industry and stuff? Like what?
I guess when I was a kid, I think I saw my first play. It was All Shook Up. It's an Elvis musical. So it's all Elvis music.
Right.
My dad was really into Elvis. So it was kind of the only reason I would have gone to a play, right?
Right.
And I thought it was the coolest thing. I wanted to join the people up there. I just thought they were like the same way kids look at wrestlers,
Right.
I was like, this is really cool, something I want to be a part of. And then from there, just kind of grew with it. I quit football in middle school to start being in all the plays. And the rest is history. I just kept with it.
So I bet if this isn't on the paper. What's been your favorite role? From when you started, like maybe through high school and stuff or whatever. From when you started through high school, what was the favorite role you ever played?
That's a tough one. I guess the one I had the most fun in is I got to be Brad in the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh wow!
That's probably out of left field answer, but that was most fun just because it was a bunch of drunk adults yelling stuff at you.
Right.
I was in my underwear. It was pretty. It was weird.
Yeah,
It was
I
weird,
bet.
but it was an experience I won't forget. So
Right.
I guess I'd have to pick that one.
I love the Rocky Horror Picture Show too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Now I would imagine that you're in some plays in school, and like you just told us about a couple. I'm trying to figure out a way to say this.
Uh-huh.
All right. Yeah, know something? I'm going to go right into the fan questions because I got a
Yeah.
good one right off the bat. Manny Aries. You know Manny,
Yeah,
right?
Manny.
All right,
Yes, sir.
awesome. What motivates you creatively? He's got some really good questions.
Okay. I guess I kind of live my life to be creative. I've never really been a fan of the day job.
Right.
I always kind of put myself in a position that I can be creative. It's kind of the best way to spend the day to me. So I guess out of necessity. would be how I find that creative drive.
All right, that's excellent.
Yeah.
What got you into production?
I guess not being a good enough actor, to be honest with you. It got to the point where I was doing plays, and I didn't get put in the play as I got a little older.
Right.
I just wasn't right for it, and I said I still want to be involved in this. So where can I put myself that I'll have a good time still being here? And I found production. I found it pretty, lack of a better term, it was like intoxicating to kind of be the one responsible for making the show happen behind the scenes.
Right.
Started off when I was a kid working the light board, right?
Okay.
And that's a lot of power to say lights on, lights off, right? So kind of the same thing how I got into acting. You see it, you get a taste of it, you're like, this is cool, and you keep going with it.
Nice, because like you said though, like with wrestling, man, that's what they all say. They get addicted to that, the feeling of going out in front of a live crowd.
Yeah.
So that's exactly how you feel, the same way. That's great. All right, a couple of guys asked this question: will we see you in the ring?
I would hope to one day.
You got some size. It's not
thanks,
like you're
man.
a little guy.
Yeah, that's the dream, I guess.
Really?
That was the whole way I found wrestling.
Okay.
I wanted to do it.
Right.
I had the time, so I sought it out. I actually emailed Mike Hollow's website maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Said, I'm really looking to become a wrestler. This was a thing he offered, right?
Right.
So he emailed me back, and I showed up one morning to a beachside school in Salisbury.
Yeah.
Mike King, Stiff Mike, ran it, and Mike Hollow was there running the class. And that was kind of my first introduction to this independent wrestling scene around here.
Right.
Sorry, what was the question?
Will we see you in the ring?
Oh, yeah. So it didn't really work out for me.
Okay.
I had some medical issues that held me back. I couldn't really keep my wind in the ring.
Right.
Not to say I gave up, but it was also a time commitment.
Oh, yeah.
I found that in order to make it in the ring, you have to be fully committed.
Absolutely.
There's no half doing it. There's no shortcuts.
That's right.
And I just don't really have the time for that, I guess. Yep. And I've made an attempt to. I would love to be in the ring, but when it comes down to it, I just don't have the safety net to fall back on.
Right.
Right. I have a job that I'm very proud of in my theater community.
Yep.
That I wouldn't really be willing to give up to pursue that passion. So I would love to be in the ring someday. I still jump in the ring from time to time at Elite Pro Wrestling Academy. And I try to get my reps in, try to run the ropes, and still, remember how to bump so I don't forget that.
Right. Tuck the chin.
Yeah, tuck the chin. But at the moment, no plans of me in the ring.
All right. I laugh because I always tell people the hardest thing must be to remember to tuck your chin. And they say after you bang your head about 5 or 6 times, you learn pretty quickly to tuck that chin.
Yep.
But you reached out to Mike Hollow, one of the best trainers around, man.
Yeah.
Stiff Mike, too.
Yep.
Another great guy.
Yep.
So that had to have been that was like the APW school, kind of, right? Yeah. So what was that, like 7 years ago, 6 years ago? Was it even less?
Probably coming up on 7 or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Mike in a while. I used to do the concessions at APW.
Yeah.
Now I do them at WFA, but I love Mike.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Great guy.
I wouldn't
Can
know.
learn a lot from him.
I wouldn't know anybody in this community or sitting here with you if it wasn't for Stiff Mike. He was the one who first got me in. Yeah.
Nice. I got to give him a call. I got to get him back in here. All right. Ed Hunt. You know Ed Hunt?
Yeah.
All right. Do you feel that your rugged good looks are wasted backstage?
Wow. I'm flattered, Ed. But no, I'm all right. I'm all right. Thank you, though.
Love Ed.
I could say the same to you.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Mike Hollow.
Okay.
How do you see the production quality of WFA growing over the next year?
Well, thanks, Coach. The production quality of WFA is something that we try to improve every show, even if it's small tightening of the screws. Where do I see it going like a year from now? I would say in WFA, we want some more gear, technically. I want to make a big light show happen at the beginning of the show, but that's hard to do when you don't have too many lights. Right?
Yep.
So I would say a year from now, I want us to have more equipment. I want us to have more people.
Yep.
Right now, it's kind of a small crew. You have myself, who's kind of calling the cues, running the show backstage.
Right.
And you have Caleb Seltzer, who's extremely talented.
Oh, Caleb is.
He's been basically our director of cinematography and kind of handling everything on the broadcast side. And I know that he has plans to keep upping his game on that end.
Right.
Yeah, so just from an all-around standpoint, I think a year from now will look a lot different than our first shows.
And you got Will Duncan.
Billy Duncan.
Yeah.
He's one of my best friends.
It's so funny because I only know him like as Will.
Yeah.
That's what he told me his name was, and then everybody calls him Billy. So
I call him Graphics God. That's what he is in my phone because he makes amazing graphics for APW.
Nice. Yeah, he's a great guy, and I can't wait to see him as he progresses and gets better and better.
Yeah.
All right, JP Griffin. I don't know if you know JP, but he's
so.
like a giant. He's like 6'7".
Okay.
Oh, yeah, big dude. How did you get into wrestling production?
Yeah, I guess to call back to what I was talking about a minute ago.
Right.
I was with Mike King at his school. I said, do you guys ever need production help? Same thing with theater.
Right.
When I stopped acting as much, I said, it doesn't seem like I'm really fit to be in the ring. I don't see a crazy good future there. I said, Mike, how can I be involved otherwise?
Right.
And we started talking about what I'm good at, what wrestling needs.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I've got a lot of lighting gear. So that's how I started with Atlantic Pro Wrestling by doing the lights for their shows.
Right.
And that's all I was doing, was just bringing my lights. And, from there, it just kept growing.
Right.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Here's another one. We already answered it. Forget it. Do you have any plans on getting in the ring? You want it? You don't mind running the ropes and stuff?
No.
All right. Pro wrestling politician Matt Patera.
Ooh.
Working with you is a pleasure. What do you look for in a talent to make your job easier?
That's a good one.
Isn't that? That's a really good question, Matt.
I'd say, what can a wrestler do to make the production side of wrestling a little bit easier? Number one on that list is, to all talent, bring a flash drive with your entrance music on it. It seems like such a small thing, but I can guarantee you it makes our job so much easier to not have to go and look on YouTube for your song. So that's one thing. Thanking all the people who work the cameras, who run the music, who set up the staging. Another small thing that can make their lives a little bit easier. They don't exactly get that instant gratification that you do when you're in the ring.
Right.
So I'd just say, see what you can do to help. I think I've made some of my best friends in this business by guys who just come up and say, Christian, what do you need help with? While we're tearing down a show.
Yeah.
I guess aside from physically, how can our jobs be made easier? I'll go over to the camera side. It's really great when we have a talent come to a show who already knows how to work the camera.
Right.
Seems like a little thing.
Yeah. You mean like where the hot camera is and kind of know where the cameramen are also, right? Yeah.
Exactly. You can get as specific as what way should you be facing when you have them on the ground in a headlock.
Yeah.
Where's the roaming cam at that moment?
Right.
It's knowing how to work with cameras that make for a better final product in the end. We can be back there trying to tell the cameramen to get the things we want.
Right.
All night. We can do that. There's no shortage of direction to be given. But when you work with a talent who already has that instinct in their head when they go out to do their match, you can tell backstage when you're cutting the cameras, they can almost be your co-director in that moment, where you're cutting the cameras and this guy seems to be aiming for roaming cam right now, and it looks like he's about to hit his finish right at it, and we're going to catch that. Little things like that really,
that's awesome.
In the grand scheme of things, they do matter.
Now I gotta ask something. Like in the old days, but I used to see cameramen, doing outside the ring, but then they would get up on the ring apron. Are you a fan of that?
When done correctly, really good tool. I know they did that a lot in WCW.
Yes.
Really good tool to get better shots when you can get that height.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, when it comes to a smaller scale budget where maybe you only have 2 cameras, it's going to be kind of impossible to keep that cameraman on the apron out of the shot of the hard cam. So if I was to give any advice to someone who wanted to put a cameraman on an apron, I would say make sure you don't get them in your shot.
Right.
Because that you're breaking the illusion right there that you're watching something happening live. All of a sudden you're watching filming, which isn't as exciting.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But I want to go back to what you said, like, how could you get involved? What brought me to this show was I went to a Ring of Honor show in Massachusetts, the very first one, and I saw the show and I said, how can I be a part of this? Boom, I called the guy up and I started catering for him.
Yep.
Which event ended up becoming concessions for companies, and now here I am.
Yep.
With you as my guest.
Yeah.
All right. Dan Tanaka, you know Dan, right?
Yeah.
Dan's awesome. Just moved back from Michigan not that long ago. What are the greatest challenges you are currently facing, and which ones would need assistance and cooperation from others?
Okay. I think we'll have to kind of decipher what he means exactly
Yeah.
there. Biggest challenges, I guess, from a production standpoint, would be money.
Yep. Equipment.
That's kind of the thing that no one really thinks about in the moment when you're saying, I want to put on a great production. Well, what does that take? It takes a lot of equipment.
Yeah.
To have a good production, you need to have good production equipment.
And good production people.
Yeah, exactly. And those cost money too.
Yes.
So I would say that's the biggest challenge
Right.
on multiple shows that I've worked on is we want to try to give a top level production quality. However, the price tag is just a little too far away to get that perfection that we're looking for.
Right. Okay. And yeah, so that's good. You covered that. Now, how long did you work? Work and doing production for APW.
So I still do production for APW
Oh, good.
today.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I've been doing it with them for, I want to say, the past 5 years.
Right.
6 or 7 maybe, as you said. I started off just doing lights, and Derek Mitchell was kind of the head of production.
He's got a question.
Oh, great. So Derek was kind of my mentor in the wrestling production land.
Right.
I had never been behind a wrestling production table, and he was kind of the first director I worked with.
Nice.
And I kind of learned how a wrestling show works through him. From that time that I started, we've definitely grown in APW.
Yep.
Put on some really good shows with, I think if you look at APW 3 years ago to a video of today, huge difference.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm still with them today, even though I'm kind of focusing a little more on WFA in the recent weeks.
Right.
But I'd say they've got top-notch production that they'll only continue to improve on.
Right. Is Derek still working with them at all?
No, I believe Derek has some bigger things going on.
Derek's a good guy.
Happy for him, man.
He's a very talented guy,
He is.
too.
Yeah.
Very talented.
Yeah.
All right, now, Sonny Goodspeed. I've seen you act in a play, and you were great. What would your ideal job look like? And then, let me finish. Is it in acting, on stage, or big screen? Is it behind the camera? Is it in wrestling, or just anything? You want to break that down too?
Yeah.
All right, so what would your ideal job look like?
I guess if you had to ask me my dream job today that I think would be achievable, it would be lighting designing WrestleMania 55.
Right.
Right? That's the dream.
Of course.
I'm not fortunate enough to maybe have all the connections or experience
yet. You're still young.
to achieve that right now.
Right.
So I guess my ideal job would be in wrestling for sure.
Yep.
In one way or another, it would be a dream to make money every day just doing wrestling.
Yeah.
Whether that be holding a camera, doing the lights, directing.
Right.
Any way that I can get involved in wrestling to make money would be the dream.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, day 40. Hold on, make sure. What about would you like to do anything like on the big screen down the line or anything like that too?
Yeah.
I don't want to skip over Sonny has a few.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want to get too much away from wrestling, right? We're on a wrestling show,
right.
But if I got offered to go to Hollywood tomorrow, I'd be there.
Of course.
Right? I got fortunate enough to work on a Hollywood movie.
Nice.
It was a Jessica Chastain movie, and I was the lighting board operator. Wow. So that was a dream I kind of got to live out.
Yeah.
Right?
Where'd they shoot that?
It was in Boston.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. In some warehouse right on the water.
That's awesome.
So, if I was to do something more Hollywood, I think I would have to start, finding outlets to make that a possibility.
Right.
And right now, that's not really it. I guess if I wasn't to do something wrestling-wise, I'd probably continue in theater.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Dave Fournier wants to know, having shows in different venues that aren't always TV friendly can be challenging. What do you do to overcome those issues? That's a good question,
Yeah.
Dave.
Being prepared.
Yeah.
Having a plan.
Right.
You can show up to a venue the day of, never seeing it before. As long as you have all the tools you know that you need
Right.
to have a good show, you're going to have a good show. I can tell you, I'll show up to a venue with way more gear than I need. If it turns out to be a small little VFW, we'll say there's no point in setting up extra lights to light up the ring when we're just going to use these big fluorescent lights, something like that.
Yeah.
But if you do come prepared and you have the opportunity to make that production quality next level because you brought that gear,
Right.
that's the best thing you can do. Be
Now,
prepared.
I've been to like 2 of the shows. I've been to a few WFA shows, but the 2 buildings I want to bring up right now is the Nashua one and the Concord one where the school is.
Yeah.
When I walked into the Concord one for the first time, I had never been there, but it was dark. You know what I mean? And I know people say, no, they didn't have the lights on. They did have some lights on.
Yeah.
But like when the show started, it was unbelievable. Now, I noticed at the last show in Nashua, you guys have now got a kid shutting the lights off so you can get that.
Yeah.
So I like that.
Yeah.
Now, whose idea was that? Was that yours?
So I guess it was a group idea. I
Okay.
know one of the first things Scott Reed said when we started talking about WFA was, I want a light show
Right.
to open up the show. So that's kind of us trying to achieve that. We get a little closer every show.
Right.
Again, tightening those screws.
Yeah.
I think the Nashua spot, that's the gymnasium,
Yes,
correct?
the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Boys and Girls Club is an ideal venue.
Yeah.
Down the line, once we spend a little bit more money, get some
Right.
more equipment, I am definitely hoping to turn all those lights off for good for the whole show and light the ring with our own lights.
Right.
So that we can have independent control of the entire room. And it just gives that extra bit of professionalism.
Right.
A wrestling show lit by broadcast lighting
Yeah.
looks a lot different than a wrestling show lit by 24 fluorescent gymnasium lights.
Absolutely.
And I don't think anyone could argue which they would prefer.
Right. I think me and my girl Marie are going to get them glasses that kind of light up because we won't be able to see.
Yeah.
All right. Derek Mitchell.
Derek.
When it comes to live event production, why are lots of wrestling promoters clueless? Not that we don't know any.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, what do you think about that question? When it comes to live production, why are lots of wrestling promoters clueless? Derek is trying to get you in trouble,
Yeah.
too.
Well, I think you could, I think this question could be brought to other departments of entertainment as well. It's not just wrestling,
Right.
where a promoter may not understand the scope of what they're asking of their production people. It happens in theater all the time.
Right.
Where I do middle school's musical, right?
Okay.
And they want the world. They want lights all over. They want big light shows. They want it to look like Broadway.
Right.
That's really hard to do on a public school budget. Same goes for wrestling. We kind of just went over all that.
Right.
It's really hard to give a top-notch production on a very small budget.
Right.
So I think that's kind of what Derek's getting at, is that, I guess, to promoters out there who are hearing this question, take the time to go over what you're asking of your production people.
Right.
Talk about the price tags of everything. Talk about what you want to prioritize.
Right.
And from there, I think better channels of communication can start to be opened.
Excellent. Great question, Derek. He's got a couple more. Why do you think promoters don't value what you do?
Well, again,
And again,
nobody
we're
we
not
know.
talking about wrestling, like,
Yeah,
just in general, because you've only worked for a couple companies, and both companies are great, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
They really are.
Agreed. I don't think that many promoters don't appreciate what it is that us production people do. I think it's one of those you don't know what you got till it's gone kind of situations. Promoters really should value their production people. I know that the promoters I work with do.
Right.
and that's the way to keep your people around.
And you're right though too, because I remember when I was doing the cassette, Mike was really like, working with Derek.
Yeah.
And wanting that great production.
Yeah.
So you're right, both companies
Yeah.
are definitely great with that. He has one more. How did you get your start, and will you hire me when you're famous?
100% will hire you, Derek. And the same goes to you, man. I will take a job any day. I think we just went over all of my start.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have got a pretty good understanding of where I came from, I think.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, my caller's back. What have you taken from being involved with independent wrestling here in New England thus far?
That's a good question, Mike. I'd say it's a lot more welcoming than I expected it to be.
Right.
It's really rare that I meet anybody in this circuit of the New England independent wrestling that is a jerk.
Right. There's some out there, though. There
are some out there.
There's some out there.
But you know what you notice is the people who are like that, they get weeded out.
Oh, absolutely. You
Because-
see them work for one, maybe two companies if they're lucky.
Yeah, because I can say one thing I've noticed is that it's a really good community full of good
I
people
agree.
who just want to put on a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Excellent. Zach Farmer. You know Zach?
I do.
All right.
He's one of my best friends
All
from
right.
high school.
So you'll understand this question
I think
then.
so.
Do you think we'll see the Boogeyman make a surprise appearance anytime soon? And I love the Boogeyman.
I
do.
love the Boogeyman too. Boogeyman is one of me and Zach's favorite wrestlers, and we've grown up together. So his email when he was a kid was littleboogie
Oh,
at
okay.
gmail.com.
Nice.
So I actually met Boogeyman at WrestleMania this past year.
Oh, wow.
I didn't.
So he was at like the Access?
Yeah, it was WrestleCon.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah,
autograph
yeah.
signing.
Oh, all right. So, down wherever they have WrestleMania, okay.
Yeah, I met him. I didn't have any money left. I spent so much on autographs that
Right.
day. I just wanted to tell him that my friend's email address was named after him. And he was like, "That's awesome, man. You want to take a picture? Do it before the promoter sees." Give me a
That's
free
cool.
picture.
That's pretty
Would've been
awesome.
$60.
A lot of people say he's a wicked nice guy.
He is,
like,
man.
So like approachable.
Yeah.
He just loves wrestling, loves
Yeah.
to meet the fans.
And to answer your question, Zach, I think it's a possibility.
Yeah.
He's been teasing some things on his
Yeah.
Twitter.
And he's got a great character for them to bring back.
Yeah.
For leaving him, it's just one night or one pay-per-view. I used to love the nursery rhymes.
Yep.
I wonder if that was his idea. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I need to interview the Boogeyman.
Yeah. You always wonder who came up with the idea in those good angles.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite Boogeyman angle scared the crap out of me when I was a little kid. When he ate the growth off of
Jillian Hall, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
that was
That
crazy.
freaked me out,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
He is he's a great character though.
Yeah.
I mean those nursery rhymes. Jim Cornette. Now that we're talking about like who did things, and I didn't realize it was him that did the Montreal Screwjob for 10 years after it happened. I didn't even know.
That's
Till
what they
I
say.
caught an interview.
Yep. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I don't think we've really pulled the curtain back on the whole situation quite yet. I think it's
Right.
like the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah,
We'll find out in like 40 years of any unsealed documents on
You
that.
like Cornette?
I love Jim Cornette.
I do too. I
know
listen
that
to him all the time.
I know it's a dangerous thing to say that you like Jim Cornette, but I think he's a really good mind.
Yeah.
I don't agree with all of his takes.
Oh, no.
He's an old man. We all know that.
crazy.
He's crazy.
He is crazy.
But he knows his stuff, and he's
Yes,
a
he
legend.
does. Yeah, absolutely. And talk about making money off of podcasts and stuff. He's got to be making a lot of money. He's really good. And his co-host, the great Brian Last, I didn't like him at first because I was like, oh, it sounds to me, he sounds like the type of guy that would give himself a nickname.
Yeah.
But together, they really are good.
I'd be lying to you if I was to say I wasn't listening to it on my way here.
Oh, I hear you. I listen to it every day.
There we go.
I'm actually, I got to get into Patreon so I can listen to the old stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
I want to go back to where he had Alice.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't go over. That didn't end well, I should say.
Yeah.
But yeah, you like Brian Laszlo? Because
Yeah, I
I think
do.
he grew on me.
I do, yeah.
All right. Ronnie Maestro, another
Love
great
Ronnie.
guy. You have a vast knowledge for the production side of things in the wrestling business. What made you want to pursue it? And did you study this in high school and college?
So I did not go to college for this. I wasn't really in a position to go to college financially.
Right.
So that's kind of how I got even deeper into theater. I would make money that way.
Right.
And I kind of used it as a learning experience. Just learning as much as I can to the point where I got to be a technical director.
Right.
That's my job during the day.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I learned that. What was the first part of that question?
Let's see. What made you want to pursue it?
I guess wrestling.
Yeah.
I feel like we already hashed that out.
Yeah, and we also did the stage one too.
Yeah.
So
I guess I could elaborate just a little bit.
Okay.
I think once I figured out that I didn't really have what it took to get to class every day,
Right.
and I started figuring out what else I wanted to do with wrestling, I almost found myself a little frustrated.
Right.
It was almost like I was losing that love for the wrestling business and that excitement.
Yeah.
So I think that's just, I don't mean to get all philosophical, but that's something I would want to put out to anybody. If it seems like it's not working out, don't let it get you mad.
Right.
Because you love this thing so much. So work as hard as you can to make sure it doesn't end up as something negative in your life. So that's kind of how I really got the production side going.
Right.
I got passionate about it and said, this is my new route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of doing commentary?
I have done some commentary for Atlantic Pro Wrestling.
Oh, nice.
You can catch my commentary on the Atlantic Pro Wrestling YouTube page right now.
Oh, cool.
We got a couple matches up there.
And who are you doing it with?
So Andrew Pilarski.
Yep.
We've recorded
I know
a few
Drew.
things, as well as Justin McIsaac.
Yep.
Who I know had a bit of a reputation in the older days.
Oh, yeah.
As
He was hot.
Just Incredible.
Just in shape.
Just in shape.
Yeah, just incredible. Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Oh, man.
Loved working with him.
I used to love to watch him wrestle, man.
Really?
Yeah, he was funny. You know,
I never got to see him.
Oh, dude, he was good. They got to have something on YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was quite the character.
Yeah.
I had him on here on Skype during the COVID.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I had never met him either, you know what I mean? But what a great guy. Now, he's in the radio business,
Yep.
you know? I think he does voiceover work too.
Yep. We recorded at the iHeart Media Studios one time,
okay.
and that was a dream. I got to walk past Greg in the Morning Buzz, who I listened to since I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
So again, wrestling's letting me live out those little moments.
Yeah.
You know.
I met, I actually took my boss. I worked at Your Mama's restaurant in Nashville, and I took us up to AAF. I called them up. They let us go on the air talking about the restaurant and stuff.
Nice.
John, I remember Ozone, if you remember John Osterlin from AAF. But that's like how you talked about Greg.
Yeah.
I loved Ozone,
Yeah.
and it was just crazy.
Yeah.
Back when AAF was one of the #1 rock stations in America.
Mm-hmm.
So they were winning all kinds of awards. Mistress Carrie, all kinds of great DJs. Jay Darravong, also known as Kid V.
Kid V.
When it comes down to enjoying wrestling, do you usually prefer character-driven matches or athletics in the ring?
I guess a little bit of both, Jay, to be honest with you. I was a huge fan of the NXT Black and Gold era with those Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa matches.
Right.
So I guess those would be considered more of an athletically driven match. Big fan of those, and I can watch those kinds of matches all day. I think my roots in wrestling definitely came from the character stuff.
Right.
The Undertaker.
Yeah.
John Cena, big character in a way. Umaga, the Boogeyman.
Yeah.
Eugene. I was a big Eugene fan. Snitsky.
Nick Dinsmore.
Yeah.
He killed that gimmick.
Yeah.
Because you really thought he was special needs.
Heidenreich. Heidenreich was one of my all-time favorites.
And when he had Michael Cole pinned up against the wall.
Yeah. I still say all the time, I hate caskets. So weird, but like that was the stuff that got me into wrestling, was the character stuff.
You would have loved it if you were born a little earlier then. When
Yes.
they had the plumbers.
Yep.
You know, those characters. A lot of people say, oh, that was a downtime in wrestling. To me, it wasn't.
No.
It was incredible. It was a chance for me to see who was a magazine kid. Guys that a lot of people would say were mid-carders, but they came to WWE with good gimmick and stuff. It was crazy back then, and you would have loved it.
Yeah.
All right, Jay has another question. Who are some wrestlers on both professional and indie level, which I think you guys are all pros, Jay, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Who are some wrestlers on both professional and indie level that just naturally play to the camera?
It's a really good question. You know, I'll start with indie and kind of put over my friends, I guess. Kid V definitely knows how to play to the camera. Everything he does with his character is always directed at some camera.
Right.
And as someone who's got to be the director for a lot of Kid V's moments on camera, I can definitely say that he's somebody who gravitates to it and is actively making sure that his stuff is getting on camera. Yeah. I think he came up to me a show not too long ago and said something about this great move. Too bad it didn't get caught on Roman cam.
Right.
And I was like, well, at least you got your head in the right spot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Put over more guys. Ilya Markopoulos is really easy. Really
Been
easy
around
to work.
a long time.
Yeah.
I think he started wrestling at like 14 or 15 years
Really?
old. Yeah.
I can tell you that he's always working to the camera.
Right.
You could call Ilya, I think, a more character-driven guy.
Yep.
Not that his in-ring work isn't great.
Right.
But I think he gets most of his reactions out of his character.
Yeah.
And when, just like we said earlier, when someone knows how to work with the camera, it makes your job that much easier.
Right.
So those are two guys locally, I would say, definitely just kind of get that the moment they walk in the ring. Professionally, I think the list would be too big.
Right.
I don't think you'd be in WWE, AEW
If you didn't know what you were doing.
if you didn't know what you were doing on that end.
Right.
But if I had to pick somebody, I would say Sami Zayn right now is putting on a masterclass of camera work.
Right.
You can, during this whole Bloodline storyline, you can go back and watch his facial expressions that are so subtle and small, but he wouldn't be doing those small, subtle facial expressions if he didn't know the camera was on him.
Right.
Maybe he would, maybe he wouldn't.
Right.
But
What about Paul Heyman?
Paul Heyman commands the camera. Yeah. He almost talks to two different people. He's talking to the different cameras when he cuts a promo. That's a really good one. Yeah.
I love Heyman. All right, only got a couple more, and then we're going to just talk wrestling.
Yeah.
From Cameron Lionel. Do you know who that is?
Cassius.
Yes. What or who got you into wrestling as a fan in the first place? I hate, I know we already covered it, but I hate not asking their questions.
Yeah. John Cena. He was the king of the world when I was a kid. Couldn't go anywhere without thinking John Cena. I had the shirts, I had the belts. It was the theatricality of it all, the spinner belt,
Right.
the new thing, right? So I would credit all of my getting into wrestling from John Cena.
Nice. Maybe I should have you co-host when I bring Mr. Cena back.
It's
His
one of the-
father.
Dude, when I started meeting all these people and I was looking at these posters of local shows, I see John Cena's dad works around here.
He's a cool guy,
Like
too.
when I started, that was such like big time to me.
I would imagine so.
And it still is. Don't get me
Right?
wrong, Mr. Cena.
He's awesome.
I still pop when I see him. So, yeah.
Yeah, because you must have seen him at a couple APW shows. I know he's come to a few.
Yep,
You know, I think last time when I was there and saw him, I think it might have been like the Rumble that they do every year. I know they're changing it from the Gil Bonk to something else. Do you happen to know?
It's the Clipper City Rumble.
That's yes. Thank you. Thank you.
To honor Newburyport.
I got to give Mike a call too because I haven't had him on since everything in the indie scenes went down. Mike's a great guy.
Yeah.
He gave me a great opportunity.
Yeah.
All right. Donald Kramer, who actually, do you know Donald?
Donnie, yeah.
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 Well, he hit me up. I never met Donnie. He said he wants to help me make clips and do all these things. I told him, I said, I need help. So I can't wait to meet him.
Donnie's a great cameraman. I can tell you that.
He wants to know, who are your top 5 wrestlers? After you're done, I'm gonna say to myself, I got 2 of them already in my head.
Okay.
I want to hear you say them.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Yeah. Whew, I'm glad I get the chance to mark out a little bit. Top wrestlers. Shawn Michaels. Undertaker.
That's one of my 2.
Randy Orton. Macho Man. I know I might get some heat for that. And then I'm just going to go with a current one because I'm a big fan. Sami Zayn.
Okay. I say I was wrong. I thought you were going to say John Cena in the 5. But
I didn't
that's
want.
all right.
I've already put him over too much.
True,
tonight.
true.
Yeah.
But all 5 of those guys are great.
Yeah.
You know? How about, let's talk about the guys that left the WWE and went to AEW and how they're doing today.
Yeah.
Right off the bat, Adam Cole.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's coming back from an injury,
Yep.
but I think he thought he was going to be a bigger deal there. What do you, I mean.
I do too. When he debuted, I think it was the same night as Daniel Bryan.
Yes.
That was.
They blew that.
Yeah.
You don't have 2 guys that good debut, unless you do them together.
Yeah.
In the same segment even.
Mm-hmm. I think that when he showed up, the bloom on the rose was really there,
Right.
especially when Undisputed Era was coming back with him, and all seemed to be going well. I don't mean to sound too much like Cornette here, but I think it was him getting involved with the Young Bucks and Omega that really killed it.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Adam Cole fan. I still have my Bay shirt from
Right.
NXT.
I love Adam Cole too.
Yeah, huge fan of his. Nice guy too.
Right.
Got to meet him. Nice guy. Once that happened, it was done.
Right.
I didn't even care anymore.
Yeah. And a lot of people know the Watch the Show. I'm not a Young Bucks fan at all.
Yeah.
Sonny would always tease me about it, you know. I honestly, truly believe I could pick 2 wrestlers that are about the same size, same talent, could go out and do the same thing they do. And what really gets me is how they have to be in their company number 1. Like, I mean, they haven't even given FTR a chance.
Nope.
After those 2 matches.
Nope.
Each one won. They don't want that 3rd one.
Yep.
You know? What do you feel about the Young Bucks? I'm not going to sit there and say they're not talented.
Yeah.
They're just not for me.
Yeah.
Super kicking kids and 30 super kicks in a match.
Yeah.
You did a super kick right out of one of your top 5 guys, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Kill a guy with one.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the Young Bucks. I don't think I'm in a position to come on a public forum and trash talk someone's work in ring. But man, I hate their matches.
Yeah.
I can't stand watching them. I don't think they have any character. I think they think the world of themselves.
Right.
And you can kind of see that portrayed on camera. They always say in theater that if you're having fun, the audience is having fun with you.
Right.
That's not the case with them.
No.
I think it's the complete opposite.
Right.
Whenever they're in there and they think they're doing great and they're smiling and jumping around, I just find myself kind of tuning out.
Right.
I guess I'm more partial to a slower pace.
Yeah.
I guess old school pace.
Right.
As opposed to what they do, super kick, flip, super kick, flip.
Right.
Yeah,
Sorry, man.
right.
Someone keeps blowing up my phone, and they should know that I'm on a show right now. Yeah. What about Kenny Omega? I think he's a great wrestler. Again, sounds like Jim Cornette, like you were saying.
Yeah.
He's a good wrestler, but I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's better than Randy Orton. I don't think he's better than Daniel Bryan.
No.
You know what I mean? I don't think he's better than Adam Cole, a healthy, in shape Adam Cole. That's another thing about Adam. It seemed like he wasn't working out as much when he got over there. Am I wrong?
I think he's looking better now.
Okay, good.
But he was definitely looking a little soft.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you're someone on Twitter who was making fun of Adam Cole for looking soft, get out of here.
Right.
I can't believe people do that.
No, it's ridiculous.
But I agree. He was definitely looking a little soft.
Right.
And I think he's looking a lot better now that he's come back. I also know he was dealing with some health stuff that might have had something to do with that.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, hopefully. I mean, I hope he comes back strong. You know what I mean? It does well. What about John Moxley? A lot of people are coming down on him because of the blood and all that. And the only thing I'm going to say about that is, I mean, I've never been, blood don't bother me in a match. No blood, it doesn't matter. But when I saw the video of him sitting in the corner on the floor with the razor blade going like this, with nothing blocking him,
Yeah.
that kind of made me lose a little respect for him because, I mean, come on.
Yep.
Just because you're over, probably the most over guy in that company.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, a lot of people could say Omega, but I think Moxley is.
Yeah.
He can do no wrong.
Yep.
Because you haven't heard much stuff about him doing that, especially from the AEW fans.
Yeah.
You know, You seen the new 6-man tag team, the SAP? Did you see that?
No.
It's Luther,
Okay.
Serpentico, whatever.
Serpentico?
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. I'm really bad with pronouncing names.
Yeah.
And Angelico, who's the team with Jack Evans.
Yeah.
Now, first off, they're called the Spanish Announce Project. Luther's not even Spanish. And there's been a tag team since 1999 called the Spanish Announce Team, the SAT.
I did hear about this.
Now, I can't believe that they actually went through with that and they couldn't come up with a better name. Stealing from these guys right off the bat. When guys like Christopher Daniels, Adam Cole, they know those guys. How that happened blows my mind. I posted about it on Facebook, and this kid went off on me, called me, tough guy, and he's defending him. He goes, who are you to say that? Like, I'm doing the same thing you're doing. I know the SAT person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're great guys. Last time I saw them, they gave me a shirt for free. So I made a post about it because I think it's bullshit. I really do.
Yeah, no, I've seen some posts about those guys also kind of calling this new team out.
Yes.
Yeah, and it
I was
seems like
hoping it was an angle.
it seems like they definitely just stole it right out from under him.
Yeah.
From what I can tell.
And I mean, it doesn't even sound good.
No.
It really doesn't. No. And I don't know if you know the SAT at all.
Not really.
Okay, well, they started by just putting a table up at independent shows and just talking. No microphones or nothing. They're the Spanish Announce Team. But I couldn't believe it when I saw that. All that time, you couldn't come up with something better. And second of all, that guy's not even Spanish.
Yeah.
Luther's from Canada.
Yeah.
So, and that was another thing the kid got mad at me because he called Luther a legend. And all I said was, he's a legend to you.
Yeah.
He's certainly not a legend in my eyes. All right. We talked a little about the WWE and the bloodline and stuff.
Yeah.
What do you think about Judgment Day?
So I haven't really been a big fan of them, honestly.
Right.
I expected a lot out of them when they were with Edge. And I thought it was going in a really good direction. I was excited to see it every week.
Yeah.
And the vignettes they were doing for it. Once Finn Balor took over, I think it kind of fell apart for me.
Right.
They're definitely trying. I won't knock them completely. The Dominic Mysterio stuff recently has been fun.
It is awesome.
Yeah. It has been fun. So I guess I was pretty soured on them around Mania
Right.
the past few months. And once all this Dominic stuff started, I guess I'm a little back on board. Some people think it's silly, but I think it's the perfect amount of silly, especially for Dominic. He's younger, and he's giving me Eddie vibes with his look.
And he got arrested.
Yeah.
And then tells everybody, man, prison changes a man.
Yeah.
Which I just think that's so funny.
It
Because we
kills
all
me.
know he got arrested and then got bailed out. But prison changes a man. And the gimmick he's doing, like dressing, the way he's dressing and stuff reminds me of how Conan, you know what I mean? How he used to dress in WCW, with the button up here and none of them buttoned down, and Dominic's killing it. He's doing a hell of a job in the ring.
Yeah. I think this has resurrected his shot here.
Yeah.
Not that he didn't do great when he was babyface with his dad.
Yeah.
That was great. Got a little stale.
Yeah.
But this has just, I think, completely resurrected him.
Right.
I think he could ride this for years.
Yeah.
And
I
who
think
knows?
a lot of fans were also looking at him like he's there because of his dad.
Yeah.
No matter how good he did, they were always going to say that.
Yeah.
And at first, when I heard they were going to turn him, I was like, why would you turn him with his father? I didn't get it. But man, I get it now. It's incredible. Now that the bloodline thing's gone with Sammy, after the Elimination Chamber. But I mean, that's the best thing, in my opinion, in wrestling right now.
Yeah.
Is the Judgment Day.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? Now, which Uso walked away? Jay, right?
What was that?
Which Uso walked away? Was it Jay?
Jay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Is he going to help Sammy or try to help him in the Elimination Chamber?
I think if I could predict a little booking here, I'm hoping that we see Jay help Sammy out at Elimination Chamber. Maybe that lasts for just a minute and then goes back to the bloodline.
Right.
Realizes that he's got to go back to his family. He can't help this kid, no matter how the feelings he had for him.
Right.
Goes back with the bloodline, WrestleMania, Hollywood, Usos, Kevin and Sammy.
That would be, yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I think you're probably right. That's probably what's going to happen. Yeah.
Yep.
And that'll be a great match.
Yeah.
Because I love Kevin Owens. So what do you think about Kevin Owens?
Love Kevin Owens, man.
And it's so funny how people get upset about him because he wears a shirt. Yeah, he's comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he can work, he can talk, he can do it all.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Kevin Owens fan. I always have been,
too.
too. And I was a huge Sami Zayn fan even when he wasn't Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
When he was El Generico.
El Generico.
I don't know if you ever seen some of the stuff he did with Colt Cabana online. And he tries to talk. It's hilarious stuff.
I hope he brings it back someday. Just for
too.
a little stint.
Yeah, that would
El
be
Generico.
awesome, right? Have him leave the company and him come back as El Generico. That could work.
The people would get it.
Oh, I think so. Yeah. I think nowadays, people that are watching the WWE, because of the internet and everything, they can go, like, when they see some, where's he from?
Yep.
Who trained him? They're all looking him up, you know? So, but yeah, him and Kevin Owens had some great matches in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
You know? What about NXT? My favorite NXT guys are all from New England, obviously. Dijak, Carmelo Hayes, Josh Briggs. 2 of those 3 have been sitting in that chair right there. Yes.
Whoa.
What do you think of those guys? Let's go to Dijak first, who came back finally killing it. They gave him that shitty gimmick T-bar with that mask. That was horrible. I felt bad for him.
It was horrible, but he did the best with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He did what he could.
Yeah.
But I like this character.
Me too.
I do. I like this one.
I love what he's doing right now. I was an even bigger fan of his back in his old NXT.
Yeah. When he was taking on Keith Lee and all that?
Yeah, those Keith Lee matches. Oh, man. I got to be there live for one of those.
Yeah.
And one of the best matches I've ever seen. He is such a good performer. And again, I'll go back to that terrible gimmick he had.
Right.
He did everything he could with it.
Yeah.
And even though the gimmick sucked,
right,
every week you could tell that he was doing the best with what he was given.
Right.
And he still got a job.
Yeah.
So good on him.
It's amazing.
Also got to meet him recently. Super nice guy.
Wait, at the school?
Yeah. Super nice guy. Was so giving with all the students he was working with this day that I saw him.
That's cool.
He's a big star.
Yeah, he is a big star.
So really good guy. I guess other NXT, Carmelo Hayes.
Yeah.
Again, really great guy to meet.
Yep. Me too.
Came backstage at one of our shows and was just watching the monitor. Got to chat up with him. And
was that the night, the retirement match? Vegas retirement match against Sethron?
I think that might have been that night.
Yeah, because I remember I was doing the concessions and I point him out to my girlfriend every time he's on.
Yeah.
And she says, Leo, someone wants to talk to you. I walk over there and it's him, right?
Yeah.
He kind of stood back, so he made me come to the counter. He's like, I had to come over and say hi. I looked at my girlfriend and said, how do you know? I got mad at her. How do you not know who this guy is? Every week for the past 5 months, I show you this guy. I said, that's how much you pay attention to me. I threw her under the bus hard.
That happens to me with Jorah Joel.
Yeah.
Every time he's on AEW, I say to my girlfriend, Michelle, there he is. And then I'm like, there he is. He's on AEW. And she's like, who?
What a great guy he is, too.
Yeah, really good guy.
He looks like $1 million.
Yeah.
Every time I see him wrestle, he gets better.
Yep.
He really does. How's he with the camera? Because last time I saw him, I watched his match at APW. This was months ago. But, man, he did everything right.
Yep.
The way he came in, everything. So
he's great with the camera.
Yeah.
You can tell. And I actually got to work a couple shows with him pre-AEW when he was Robo.
Yep. I did like that name.
Me too.
I did.
Me too.
It took a while to be able to. I know it sounds silly, but you're a job. The first few times I couldn't get it right.
Yeah. You could tell from before he was working on TV with AEW, and when he came back for a show after he had been working live TV, that, man, they were teaching him how to use the cameras. It was very evident. I can't really say much more than that. His work has always been solid.
Right.
Great guy. I'll never forget, if you become a big star one day, Jorah, I remember you want your music played 22 seconds in, and I'll never forget it.
Nice.
So, can't express enough gratitude to being able to work with these guys who are coming up in the ranks like this.
I'm going to bring up a couple guys that I like right now.
Yeah.
B.I.G.
Okay.
Brett Ryan Gosling. You've worked with him, right?
Yep.
How's he with the cameras?
Good. He's got a really good look.
Yeah. Great on the mic.
Yes. Yeah, cuts a good promo.
Yeah, he does.
I can't say much about his work on the camera. I've only seen him once.
Okay.
So I can't make too big of an opinion about that.
Right.
But from what I've seen, he's definitely doing all the right stuff. Good guy to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sidney Bacabella and Channing,
Yeah.
world class.
Yeah.
Thomas.
Yeah.
You know that he's going down to the ECWAs in the Super 8 this year?
No, I did not.
Yes.
It's
I'm
not
still thinking of going down.
It's not surprising, man. I mean,
He's unbelievable.
yeah, he is really good.
Yeah.
He always shows up very professional. Always says hi to the guys in the back, and
Yeah.
his work is always solid.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of his.
Me too.
And Bacalbella.
And for a while, there was a 3-man group in Prestige with another kid named Mac Daniels. Now, are you familiar with Mac?
Yep.
That kid's good, too.
Yeah.
All 3 of those guys.
That Mac Daniels, that kid's got the look.
Yeah.
He's got a good look for TV.
He does.
Yep.
And I expect big things from all those guys.
Same
You
here.
know? It's great to see ECWA Super 8. It's always been a tournament I was always fascinated with and wanted to know about. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I went a couple years ago. And I went because I don't know if you know who Mr. Ooh La La is.
No.
Well, he's been wrestling for like 30 years for the ECWA. And he had his first heavyweight championship match. So I had to go down because there's no way he wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
And he won, but it was the same night as the Super 8. And it was awesome, man. I'm thinking about going down. Let me know if you're interested.
Awesome.
It's like 5 hours.
Oh, let's do it.
You know?
Road trip.
I think it's not this weekend, but the following weekend. I'll let you know.
All right.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Come see Man of La Mancha at the Seacoast Repertory Theater in Portsmouth for the next few weeks. It takes place in a Hell in a Cell. I'm not joking. I built it. I'll give you free tickets. Just hit me up, Christian Arnold. Come check out Wrestling Federation of America. We've got shows coming up.
APW.
Atlantic Pro Wrestling's doing some great shows coming up. Thank you for having me, Leo.
Christian. Hey, my pleasure.
I'll come
my
back
pleasure.
anytime.
Well, maybe we'll get that with Mr. Cena.
Yeah.
Guys, we're out. Peace. Hi, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. Listen, I could use a little help to grow my YouTube channel. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe. That's most importantly, subscribe. Send me a direct message, and I'll give you a shout out here on the show. My YouTube channel is real simple. It's just my name, Leo Connors. Thanks in advance. Peace.